You're listening to Fountain of Thought with your host, Dennis Fountain. One small step for man, one giant leap for America. Today's special guest star, Sunny Rain.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Fountain of Thought, where we talk about anything and everything. Just imagine your favorite morning talk show hosts. That's us. No annoying music, just our wonderful thoughts, our processes, our brain, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to bring you the ultimate in podcasting excellence. Sorry, you must have a problem with your microphone over there?
Oh, you can let me speak?
No, I'm not.
That was really
so
nice
if
of
you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at facebook.com/Fountain of Thought, Twitter at TalkFOT, or email us at talkfot@gmail.com. Hey, Sonny, how you doing?
Talk at FOT.
Talk at FOT. You got to throw
FOT.
You got to throw that DJ voice in there.
You too can learn how to be a professional disc jockey.
WPQR Radio, Puker 101.
What? A disc jockey.
Yeah.
What's that? A DJ. That's what that means?
That's what that means. Hey, everyone out there. This episode contains adult themes and languages, so listener discretion is advised. So how are we doing today? Good?
We are spectacular.
Spectacular. All right. So one of the new segments I want to talk about is FOT Rewind. Those are some pretty classy special effects we got going on there.
Absolutely. Only the best for our audience.
Yes, only the best. So a couple episodes ago, we talked about Mariah Carey's New Year's Eve performance, which was absolutely horrible, and we talked about professionalism. So I want to ask you, again, another band professional question. I don't know if you know it or not, but U2 announced they are canceling the release of their upcoming album in protest of Donald Trump being president. Guitarist The Edge says the band needs, quote-unquote, breathing space to adjust to the election. So my thoughts to you is, first of all, they're an Irish band. Who the freak cares? Why do they care about the election? But is that professional of them? Do you think that's professional of them to say, listen, we don't like your president, we're going to take some time off, and we're going to hold back releasing our album because fuck you?
That is not only unprofessional, that is the dumbest thing I've heard yet coming out of this election.
Oh, no, I've heard dumber things, but I just...
Give me a break.
They,
I'm going to take my toys and I'm going home because I didn't get what I want.
Yeah, they can afford it because how much do you think U2's worth, the band, as a whole?
They're worth
$838 million. Yeah. That's as a group. I didn't do all of the members, but Bono, guess how much?
Oh, it's way up there.
$600 million.
Yeah.
And The Edge, the guitarist, $240 million. So he's sucking up the pine there. But anyway, I don't know. I guess when you're in that position, if you really feel strong about something and you want to make a stand, okay, go ahead. I just think it's stupid.
Do they have dual citizenship?
I don't know. I know that he bought an apartment in New York that somebody, I don't know, I don't know. I know they live in New York. Bono, anyways, lives in New York part-time. I don't know what their citizenship is. I don't know. I just don't know. But they're up in arms, as in millions of others. But I don't know. I just think that's unprofessional. Why should the fans have to suffer? I don't understand. If you're a fan of U2, why should you have to suffer? It doesn't make any sense to me. I get you want to make a statement, maybe. Okay, but. To make your fans suffer for your political beliefs, I'm...
That's not very in the name of love.
They still haven't found what they're searching for.
Sunday, bloody Sunday!
All right, since we're talking about Trump, I also want to talk about fake news, which was our very first episode tackled that topic, and it's just becoming larger and larger. So,
or dumber and dumber.
Yeah, or dumber and dumber. So recently, 4chan, which is an anonymous message board website, got a hold of some fake documents. Political consultant Rick Wilson thought these documents were real, and he turned them over to the CIA, and apparently these documents were allegedly put together by some ex-MI6 operative, not Bond, James Bond, but some other guy, not quite up to his specs, I suppose. The CIA believed that because this came from a former MI6 operative, that they were somewhat credible. They did no checking, but because that's where they came from, they thought it was credible. And this intelligence report was released for Russia's involvement in the election, which is a whole other topic I could talk about. But the report reads, and I quote, "However, there are other aspects of Trump's engagement with Russian authorities, one which had borne fruit for them to exploit Trump's personal obsessions and sexual persuasions in order to obtain compromising material. According to an unnamed source where he had been present, Trump's conduct in Moscow included hiring the presidential suite of the Ritz-Carlton, where he knew President Obama and his wife had stayed, and defiling the bed where they had slept by employing, I kid you not, folks, a number of prostitutes to urinate on them in front of him." So BuzzFeed, Cosmo, and CNN all ran with this fake news without checking a single source. And it's been debunked, but of course, headlines rule the world, and they just did it just to go ahead and I don't know.
There's no integrity in journalism anymore.
I don't know. Well,
I said this before. Grab a headline, blurt it out. If you're wrong, at least they used to do retract. They don't even retract things anymore. They just don't care.
They don't care. I mean, I wouldn't. BuzzFeed's going to hate me, but I wouldn't call BuzzFeed actually a great news source, but they are becoming that way. And I do know that MSNBC dumped like $250 million into them because they thought they were going somewhere. But in Cosmo, I wouldn't consider them a bastion of news, but CNN, I would kind of hope would be somewhat newsworthy. But all of this stuff, it's ridiculous. And we've said this before. There's a difference between reporting the news and pontificating on the news. And if it's an opinion in an opinion show, great. But like days of Walter Cronkite, and when you heard a newscast at 6 o'clock or 6:30 or 7, whatever it was, you believed it because you knew that it was true, because they had morals, they had standards, they did research, they did history, they checked.
Integrity.
And that's a good word. They had integrity. And nowadays, it's not there. It's just not there. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry, hey, I could say that this podcast is a news source, but I don't. I'm here for opinion. This is an opinion show. And for all these websites and places to think that they're newsworthy, and for CNN and the Wall Street Journal to go to BuzzFeed and these places to get their news from, I'm just not buying it.
Go back in the beginning of that story again when you were talking about this MI6 agent.
Yeah.
He reported to who?
The DNC hired him, the Democratic National Committee. It was op research. So they hire opposition research team that goes out and looking the Hillary Clinton camp. They hire a team of experts that go out to try to dig up dirt on Donald. And I'm sure Donald did the same thing, where he hired a team of experts to dig up stuff on Hillary. Except he had no problem with that because WikiLeaks did it for him.
Yeah.
And this is where they're saying this big connection lies in, because they say that Donald Trump has ties to Russia. And they feel that Russia is to blame for breaking in, hacking into the DNC, and releasing all these documents via WikiLeaks. And there are this could be a whole show, but this goes into saying that Donald Trump is not our legitimate president because of the fact that that Russia was involved in our election. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, Russia didn't affect how you vote or how I vote or how anyone voted at the polls. They didn't stop it. They didn't rig it. They didn't fix it. All they did, if you believe what is said, and proof is kind of there, although we as U.S. citizens don't get to see it, but from what they're saying, proof is there that Russia hacked the DNC and released all this stuff to WikiLeaks. But what did that do? All that did was just show what the DNC is doing. I mean, it's...
All right, but listen, that wasn't my question. My question
I'm sorry, what was...
In the beginning of that that segment.
Yes,
You said
MI6.
they reported to who?
It was the DNC. I don't know who in the DNC, but the Democratic National Committee. That's who they were hired to
What
do.
did the CIA have to do with it?
Because they thought that Donald Trump could be blackmailed. This guy turned it over to the CIA for them to investigate.
Okay, all right. That's the part I didn't hear that. All
And
right.
President Obama read this report. Donald Trump read this report. And I will give credit to countless news agencies out there. They all got a hold of this report and they all read it. But they all knew it was a pile of bull. That Donald Trump isn't going out there having golden showers with prostitutes. I mean, let's face it. Even before Donald was president, come on. If Donald Trump goes to a hotel and hires these prostitutes and starts doing golden showers, don't you think that somebody is going to say something? I mean,
first of all, I said this back in that whole scandal with Bill Clinton and that bimbo.
Which bimbo? There were several.
Well,
Monica Lewinsky.
I don't care. Okay, what you do in your off time, what you do in your bedroom with your wife, what you do behind closed curtains, I don't care. You are now the president of the United States. You do the job for the people. Take care of our country. If you want to go watch, I don't care what you watch, what you do. I mean, providing it's not completely and totally.
Well, my thought is that what happens in the privacy of your residence or White House or whatever stays there. I mean, that's up to you. I mean, if you have sex with, as long as they're consenting adults, I don't care. It doesn't. Well, what your perversion is that shouldn't matter to me. I don't think that makes you a better or a worse president. I don't. I really don't.
And it gets my ass off, because then when you go back and you look at all this Catholic scandals we had in the past.
Oh Lord.
Come on. All this stuff was swept under the. No, we're not gonna prosecute. We're just gonna move people around. We're just gonna pretend nothing happened on here. And that's exactly the stand they took.
Yeah.
But it's always, if you are powerful or you get into
look at JFK,
stardom, whatever it is, somebody's always going to try to drag dirt out about your sex life.
Yeah. Well, it sells. It sells headlines.
I understand it sells. No, okay, fine. You got bona fide proof that they broke into a hotel room and caught Donald Trump with a 9-year-old girl. Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Then you arrest him.
Yep, that's a problem.
Yeah, I have an issue with that. You go into a big banquet hall and you got a mini fire engine with lots of people running around in circus outfits and elephants peeing all over Donald Trump. Hey. That's his bag. Then whatever. Clean up before you come back to the office. I mean, I don't care. I just don't care. They wasted that one last year. They wasted when Clinton was in office. Always going back to the same thing.
Trying to impeach him, and
because he had oral sex and what? I don't care.
Yeah. It's between him and Hillary. That's their problem.
Exactly.
If it's a problem, we don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Hillary says it wasn't. But let's not get into that. But I agree with you. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Just leave. Doesn't matter. Just everybody just calm the fuck down. Let the guy get in office and at least try to do something before you keep bashing the shit out of him.
Yeah, I know.
He won the election fair and square, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you don't want to respect him, respect the office of the President of the United States.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you don't like him. There was a lot of presidents I didn't like.
Yep.
But once they officially won, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, 6 months to a year, he starts screwing up. Hey, I'll be
Crucify him.
I'll be the first one to bang in the first nail.
Crucify him. Yeah.
But, until that point, I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think everybody needs to calm the fuck down.
All right. You okay over there?
Yeah.
All right. So let's meander slowly into Sonny's trivia.
All right. I know I promised everybody we'd have it start this week, but we ran into a couple of technical difficulties called...
Not my fault.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
You suffer from the same thing.
I told you to do something and you didn't do it.
Early Alzheimer's.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of early Al,
I'm not laughing at Alzheimer patients before anybody goes ballistic. Okay, it was just
when
a personal joke between me and
this
Dennis.
was the first time this happened to me. When I was in Georgia, I went to see a movie, and I didn't say anything, and I didn't realize until afterwards. The young kid at the counter sold me senior citizen tickets. He thought I was wait.
I love it.
So I was like, what? And I swear to you, this morning, God's honest truth, I went to Dunkin', and the guy says, yeah, 1 senior coffee, here you go. And I went, whoa, when did this happen? Like, all of a sudden, 1 week I'm great, the next week, all of a sudden, I'm a senior. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that Alzheimer thing made me think of that now I don't even have to ask for the senior citizen discount, and apparently I'm getting it, so.
Well, anyway.
I'll take it, because I'm cheap, but.
Back to the trivia. We'll have it all worked up by next week. Pretty much it's going to be, there'll be a question, and then we're going to ask everybody to respond on social media, and we're going to collect all the right answers. We're going to put them in Dennis's sack.
Ooh, all the answers are going in my sack.
And we'll draw the winning ticket on live in the next show.
That's cool. That sounds good.
And then we'll have different prizes. As the first one's going to be a Dunkin' Donuts gift certificate, since we were just talking about Dunkin' Donuts.
Good.
And we'll see how that goes.
I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like that's going to be fun. I watched a couple weeks ago an episode of this show where they went back and looked at the making of TV shows, and they did the making of Mork and Mindy. Remember Mork and Mindy? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I found several.
Nanu.
Oh, Shazvat. I found several things interesting about that show. One of them was I didn't realize, and I'm not saying anything it's apparently it's well known, and I don't know where I was. I guess I was in a closet. I didn't realize that Robin Williams was really into drugs as much as he was.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know that he was with John Belushi on the day that
they were
Belushi
coke buddies.
died. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
And I suppose because back then I probably didn't. I thought Coke was probably soda. I wasn't paying attention because I was younger. But that got me to thinking about TV shows. It was very interesting, and it got me to thinking about over the years what some of my favorite TV shows were. So I thought what we do today is discuss some of our favorite TV shows from when we were alive. So we were born in the 60s, so I figured we would start in the 60s, even though probably some of the shows from the 50s might be some of our favorites. But I thought we would start from the 60s, and I made a list of my top 10 favorite shows and then my favorite shows. So I'd like to discuss that with you today. What's that? Does that sound all right to you?
Sounds great.
All right, because if it doesn't, we're shit out of luck because I got nothing else to talk about. So, all right. So,
is Quantum Leap going to be on this list? Really?
They are my list. All right. So, several decades, I actually had a tough time narrowing it down to 10 because there were so many good shows that I
Is
thought
this top
that listed
10 for the entire, all the different
for the
decades?
whole decade. Yeah, top 10
just
for the 60s, top 10 for the 70s.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here are my top 10 for the 60s, then I'll tell you what I picked as my favorite. Bewitched. F Troop. You can you feel free to comment on any of these as you saying them, as I'm saying them. Get Smart, Gilligan's Island, I Dream of Jeannie, Lost in Space, Candid Camera, Get Smart, Wild Wild West, and Star Trek.
And that's in the order?
No, it's not in any order. I just threw them out. Although my favorite, I will pick my favorite for the 60s, is Star Trek. The original.
Okay, my favorite,
obviously.
My favorite from the 60s would have been Lost in Space.
Lost in Space?
Yeah. I remember running home from school. You'd had those half days of kindergarten.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait to get home because at 3 o'clock it'd be on. And I'd watch Lost in Space, and then I'd go up to my buddy's house up the street, and we'd go in the backyard, and we're going to build the Jupiter 2's pod, and we're going to go to space. And
even the vegetable episode?
No. I didn't say it didn't become stupid at some points, but they had some decent ones.
It evolved rather oddly, too, because in the original, Dr. Smith was really a bad character.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Russian operative.
Yeah, he was really a bad character.
But they went very campy because that's what the network wanted.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I did not like Star Trek in the 60s.
You didn't like? Well, you thought it was too slow for you? Or?
I didn't like it. It wasn't until it was much later that I went back to it and started giving it a fair shot. Probably almost in the mid 70s, I started to watch that.
Yeah. See,
when I got older,
it's. I will tell you that Sonny and I, maybe I'll give him an outline of the show, but most of the time he's not aware of what I'm going to say or what I'm talking about. So it's not like we discuss these things ahead of time and say, I'm going to talk about this, and will you say this? And it doesn't happen. We have an outline of the show, but basically what we say is what we say. Your Lost in Space thing is very similar to mine. I would come home from school, and my mom would make me a cup of tea, and we would sit down together and watch Star Trek. So that's, because even though I was born in the 60s, I never watched it first run because I was 3 or whatever, 2, 3, whatever. So I didn't watch it first run, but I did watch it afterwards. But I think that's weird that we have similar stories about that.
Well, like I said, okay, so I'm going to say, like I said, it's starting again. We got to do something, get some oxygen in this room, or I don't know what it is. Whew. Okay, yeah, like I said, I grew up on Lost in Space, but if I had to pick my favorite that I went back to decade after decade after decade, that's tough because I would have to say Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island?
Gilligan's Island never gets old. Even to this day, you still see kids watching Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
It was so stupid and simple, but it was entertaining.
I thought you would have liked an F Troop. You seem like an F Troop guy to me.
I watched a few episodes, but I didn't. It was never on the network we had.
Yeah.
And on the stations, again, we only had 2-3 stations, so you had to watch what was on there. But Gilligan was it had a special place. And I remember the day I heard Bob Denver died, I cried like a baby.
They were rescued,
Twice.
Then they got stranded again.
Yeah, twice. The first time they got rescued, how'd they get rescued?
Yeah.
How did it happen?
The first time they got rescued?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Was this the the Sputnik one? Was that the one with the... No. Which one was the first one?
This one, the first time they get rescued is when the big tsunami comes and it's going to wipe out the island, so they tie all the all the huts together.
That was the first one?
And then they drift into sea and they get picked up by a naval destroyer or something.
Yeah.
Second one, they find an old World War II B-25 bomber.
That's the one that I was... Yeah,
and they managed to get it up in the air long enough to get spotted by a thing. And then, of course, they turned it into a hotel. And
when did the Globetrotters get involved?
I think that was the same... Was there 3 movies or 2?
I think there were 3. Yeah,
because the third one they turned it into a resort.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mr. Howell had died.
Yeah, right.
And they had to bring in a character.
Jim Backus.
Yeah, he had died before the
Also
made the
Mr.
third
Magoo.
One.
Yeah.
But that was just a classic from the 60s that you can still watch. I mean, like I said, Lost in Space was good, but I can't watch Lost in Space with a straight face now. It's just too...
Oh, well...
It depends. There's a couple of episodes...
I don't remember the title of it, but that episode where... oh, my God, I'm drawing a blank. The father.
John Robinson.
Oh my God, a big blank. John Robinson. When he had that alter ego in the other.
Yeah, that was a cool.
That was one of my favorite episodes. Yeah. I really love that episode. That was a well thought, well written. Any science fiction. That was a good episode.
And the robot's little thing that flashed. What color was he in the alternate universe?
Green.
Yeah, it was red in ours, and he was green.
Yeah.
That was. There were a few that they did more adult concepts to, and those you can still watch. But the carrot guy, come on! A 5-year-old would have thought that was stupid.
And back then, and now it might be a little different. When I was little and watching my absolute favorite episode was Crush, Kill, Destroy. I love that one. So from the 60s, you're going with Lost in Space.
No, I'm going to go with Gilligan's Island.
Oh, Gilligan's Island. Yeah. All right.
The pain.
I'm going with Star Trek. All right, moving on to the 70s. Mm-hmm. This was probably my toughest decade because there were so many things. This in the 80s, because this is primarily when I was growing up. So this was a tough decade. And I had to eliminate a lot of things. But here are my favorites from the 70s. ABC after-school specials. Happy Days.
Yeah.
MASH.
Oh, definitely.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yes.
Charlie's Angels.
Yoo-hoo.
Space 1999.
Not a big fan.
Wonder Woman. Kung Fu. The $6 Million Man. And The Bionic Woman. Those are my top 10s from the 70s.
Well, 70s is easy for me. It would be Battlestar Galactica.
You know, that is mine. And it was tough because I really wanted to go with MASH because I really, especially now, I really like MASH, but I got to go with Battlestar Galactica.
But see, now MASH was the same thing. When I was growing up in the 70s, I was too young to appreciate it. I didn't care for it. It wasn't until the 80s and the 90s
that's what
I would catch it in reruns, and I love that show.
What a really good show it was, yeah.
It's just that, you know, when I'm born in 1975, I'm 10 years old, Battlestar Galactica comes out and I'm 12 or 13. That's more my speed rather than trying to understand the Korean War and all of that. But later on, you know, you go back and you watch. That was the brilliance of old TV.
Yeah.
There were good shows they would just stay with for years.
Do you know how reruns became reruns? Do you know how that started?
When they went into syndication.
No. It started with the I Love Lucy show. When she became pregnant, after she had the baby, they couldn't record any episodes. And Ricky said, you know what? Show a couple of episodes that already played. And the network was saying, no, that will never fly. We're not going to do that. And he said, well, she's not going to come on the show. We can't do it. Play the reruns. That's how reruns started.
Oh, reruns?
Yeah.
I thought, when you said that question, I thought you meant how did that come to be later on? You know, like in other words, if a network has a show,
syndication.
Yes, that's what I thought. I didn't know where you were coming from with that question.
That's how reruns started. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
But that's a good point about reruns because in reruns, that was another reason we got hooked on shows like Star Trek, because you'd have that favorite episode, and every time you turned it on, you were like, I hope it's going to be, you know, and then when it was, you were like, oh yeah.
So I do have to say, you know what MASH stands for?
Mobile Army
Surgical
Hospital.
Yeah. But I will have to say, out of all the science fiction, and I think we agree on this, I'm not sure, out of all the science fiction shows, whether they be TV or even movies, my favorite all-time uniforms are from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, those were good.
Those were some kick-ass uniforms. They were really good. And why they changed them for the new Battlestar Galactica, I don't know.
No, they had that almost rugged cowboy look to them, but I like the way the sidearm strapped to the.
They were realistic. They were like if you really were the future, this is what they would look like. They were useful.
They looked military.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unlike Star Trek where you're in pajamas. But
especially Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh yeah, that was.
All you could see was everybody's nutsack.
Yeah, well, what about
spandex?
Well, that was like the Star Trek: The Motion Picture too. They were all.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah. I forgot what you just said, but it wasn't. You didn't say the motion picture.
Oh, well, I meant that's the one I meant.
Yeah.
Terrible.
No! You said the motion picture. I meant Next Generation. Next Generation, when they came in that one piece, it was one piece.
It was same thing. The first two seasons were like that.
Yeah,
but that first one, it was. You know, if I was casted in that first movie, and they expect me to wear that, I would have had an Idaho baked potato shoved down my pants. I would not have walked out on the set unless I looked like I was carrying some weaponry. I mean, come on, that's embarrassing. You're on the big screen and it still looks like the size of a golf ball.
Okay.
Christ.
So you're going with MASH?
Overall best show of that.
It doesn't have to be one of mine. It could be anything that you've come up with.
No, but in my opinion, I'm going to say MASH is probably the best.
I'm gonna go with Battlestar Galactica. Although $6 Million Man, I got to tell you, I played Steve Austin a lot. But
remember, Battlestar Galactica was only one season.
Yes, and at that, it was. If you look at Battlestar Galactica, not only was it only one season, there's basically like 4 episodes in that, and that's it. Because one of them's like a 3-parter, and most of the other ones were 2-parters. So you break that all. I think there were only like 13 episodes for the whole season.
Oh hell no!
Of Battlestar Galactica?
Oh no way!
No. You look it up. You look it up.
No way.
Yeah, while we're going through this, you look that up, and I'm telling you, Battlestar Galactica. There were what? I think you had. Maybe 19 episodes for the whole season, and then almost every single episode there were 2 or 3 part episodes, because they count the very first episode as 3, and that's because they took the movie and broke it down into 3 episodes. But my favorite Battlestar Galactica episode is not a Battlestar Galactica episode. It's a Galactica 1980 episode, which was probably the worst television show that ever existed. But I loved the Starbuck episode. That was absolutely phenomenal. I loved that. That was my favorite. I see you can't do 2 things at once.
No, I can never multitask. There was 24 episodes in that first season.
Yeah, and if you look at those seasons...
Okay, yeah, I'm going to look at it right now. You got 1, 2, and 3 were the original movie.
Yeah, right.
4.
So that's one episode. Now you got to take
4,
2.
5, and 6 was The Lost Warrior.
So now you take 4 away. Okay.
Okay. The Long Patrol is 1. Gun on Night Planet Zero has 2.
Yep.
The Magnificent Warriors. The Young Lords. The Living Legends Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Fire in Space.
Yeah.
War of the Gods 1 and 2.
Uh-huh.
The Man with 9 Lives. Murder on the Rising Star. Greetings from Earth. Baltar's Escape.
And those,
Experiment in Terra.
yeah, those were kind of like 1, but all right.
Take the Celestia. And the Hand of God.
Okay. So you how many altogether?
Well, yeah.
All right, and then you take away 5, 6, 8. You take away 8 of those because they were multiple parts. So whatever episodes you have, you take away 8 of them, and that's what I'm saying. There were actually very few episodes because even though they're 2-parters, to me that's one episode. You break it apart, fine. But
How much excitement do you get for being right?
oh, I get a lot.
You gloat?
I get a lot. Yes, I gloat.
Do you go home and actually just
glow.
Will you go home and re-listen to that whole part of me having to say,
And I just
I was
play
wrong?
it over again. I play it over and again and over.
Did you hear
again.
me? I said it. I was wrong. I'll say it one more time. I was wrong.
All right. Moving on to the 80s. Family Ties.
80s sucked.
See, you hated 80s television. I loved it. You hated 80s movies too, didn't you? Or was it
no,
70s?
no, no.
70s movies you hated, 80s you liked?
No.
I thought that was the opposite.
No,
Yeah,
I liked a lot of 70s movies, a lot of the 80s movies.
Okay. All right. So 80s. Family Ties, LA Law, The A-Team,
That was good.
Knight Rider, Star Trek The Next Generation,
Well, yeah, that's a given.
Dukes of Hazzard,
Yeah,
Remington Steele,
didn't watch that.
Growing Pains. He just died. Quantum Leap. Yeah, I love Quantum Leap. And The Greatest American Hero. And out of that, my favorite is The Greatest American Hero, although Star Trek TNG is kind of close, but I'm going to go with The Greatest American Hero.
See, all right, when you look at the problem with the 80s is that's when I just graduated high school. I had my license. I was out all the time.
Yeah, you were in your band, and you
Well,
were...
no, then
you
the
weren't in
band,
the band?
the band came a little later than that.
Your band came in the 90s?
No, the band came the same year that Star Trek
In the
Next
80s. Yeah.
Star Trek The Next Generation came out. That's when the band came out.
Yeah.
And that, but the thing was, is it took all my time up because I was always at rehearsal till late at night,
Yeah.
or we were playing 4 or 5 nights a week. So there was no big TV. The only TV I saw was on an off night, or if we were crashed at the motel during the day.
Whatever happened to be on.
Yeah, and that's basically where I first saw Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah.
I saw a few episodes, and I wasn't impressed until that day that
You came over from my house.
I came over to your house and we all watched.
Well, we're gonna have a Star Trek episode later on.
All right, so we'll talk about that.
But yeah. So out of the 80s, do you have a favorite TV show that came out of the 80s? And I'm pegging you as a Dukes of Hazzard kind of guy.
No, that was all right. I mean, I could sit through it, but I wasn't a favorite. You never mentioned the Incredible Hulk.
See, I found that boring.
Well, I'm not saying that it was my favorite, but I'm just surprised I didn't.
It didn't. Although there were some really, really good episodes, like the one where he was stuck in between.
Yeah,
that was a really good episode. Or the one where he crashed a plane and he was with Mr. McGee. Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. But he was
see.
blind. Yeah, that was another good episode. Yeah.
And then that one where they created another Hulk.
Yeah.
And he had to fight him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious. I thought that was one of your favorites.
I thought it was kind of boring. I really did. I thought a lot of the episodes were it needed more Hulk, less Bill Bixby.
Well, I'm going to have to say, due to my adolescence, Charlie Angels.
But okay, Charlie's Angels. That was the 70s. That wasn't the 80s. But I'll let you go because it started in the 70s. See, a lot of these shows were tough because when they started, they were on for maybe 10, 12 years. So they went to another decade. But Charlie's Angels did proceed into the 80s.
No, you're right. That was the end of it was the end of the 70s. I was still in grade school. Yeah, when I had my Farrah Fawcett on the ceiling.
Yeah. I had Heather Locklear from The Fall Guy, and my mom made me put her in my closet. I couldn't put her on my wall.
Talk about
Came out of the closet.
Yeah, get back in there.
He was on the door to my closet. All right, well, I guess you don't have to have a favorite. We'll skip the 80s. All right. Okay, so now we're on to the 90s, and I already think I know what your favorite is for the 90s. But the 90s, I have Home Improvement, Seinfeld, ER, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Charmed, Star Trek Voyager, which I know you hated, and Stargate SG-1. And I have to pick Stargate SG-1 as my favorite. That's probably one of my all-time favorite shows.
I will pick that because it is one of my all-time favorite, but I didn't watch it first run.
Right. Well, it was on Showtime, so you had to pay to watch it back then.
Yeah, but not only that, I told you, the one time I tuned in was one of their poor episodes.
Yeah.
And I was not impressed, and I never went back. It wasn't until you made me take the videos home, and I started watching them back to back. Then I got hooked, and I went through the whole entire series on DVD, and I was very impressed. But at the time, what was your list again?
Home Improvement, Seinfeld.
That was okay. Seinfeld. See, Seinfeld was genius for its time because I didn't get it back then, but today, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
It's really good, but it's another one I didn't pick up till much later down the road. Yeah, go ahead.
ER.
Didn't watch it.
Buffy
and Angel, I admit it, I liked it.
Yeah.
Soap opera, but...
Charmed.
I didn't watch Charmed.
Yeah, Charmed. You still haven't watched Charmed, have you?
I never could get into it. I tried, but it didn't do anything.
Charmed. I'm rewatching Charmed right now as we speak, actually. At night when I go to bed, I pick some TV show to rewatch, and I watch all of it. I stream it and watch all of it from start to finish. And then when I'm done with it, I pick another one and move on. Right now I'm on Charmed. Star Trek Voyager, that was my other one.
That was all right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going with Stargate SG-1 for the 90s?
Absolutely. Brilliant show. And now they're going to blow it and redo it all over again.
Yeah. The 2000s. I don't know what we call them. We call the 80s. What do we call these? The zeros?
I guess.
70s, 80s, and the zeros. Okay. Alias. Boston Public.
Well, Alias was good first season, then slowly went to crap as soon as J.J. Abrams went on to the next project.
I did like the whole... it told a story, so I did like the whole length of it. I did think at the last part of it, it got a little out there. Like Lost, I loved the first, I think, 2 seasons of Lost.
That was such a disappointment.
But when Holly, who was the big guy? Holly, what was his name there? The big Hawaiian guy there who found this van in the middle of nowhere and was driving it around the island. Did you watch it then?
Yeah.
What's the big guy?
He wasn't Hawaiian?
Whatever he was. What was he? I don't know.
His name was Garcia.
No, what was his name? It was Holly or something. Wasn't it on the show?
Oh, God.
I don't know. Well, that's when I stopped watching because it like jumped the shark for me. I couldn't watch that anymore. But Boston Public.
I didn't watch it.
Denny Crane.
No, I haven't watched
William
it.
Shatner. You never watched
you
that?
Always ask
oh my
me
God!
to,
You got to watch that. I love that show.
I never watched it.
Oh, that's a tough show to get a hold of. You can't stream. You can stream it on Amazon or one of them, but they only have season 5, so you actually have to get the DVDs if you want to watch that show. You can't find that anywhere. But that's a good show. I like that show. Monk. Psych.
Monk was good.
Monk. Psych.
I loved Psych.
Veronica Mars.
I loved Veronica Mars.
Firefly.
Loved Firefly. Fox screwed that up so bad.
Didn't they?
Oh,
didn't they? It was.
That show had so much potential.
That's when it started, and especially for you, where you'd make sure that a show was on for at least 2 seasons or so before you'd commit to it.
Exactly.
Because Fox would do that continually.
Well, because they did that. They never. I just don't understand. They do this Nielsen rating crap, but they don't take into account the people who TiVo stuff, and 2, people who buy on DVD.
Yeah.
They only worry about the primary, thing, which I suppose is important because of advertising. But you can't base I just lost the train of thought.
Well, that's changed a little bit since now they do the DVR plus 3 plus 7. So
yeah, I know it did, but at the time,
but back then, it
was killing shows off because they just weren't getting true ratings.
Right, exactly, yeah,
and that
was a brilliant show.
It was, and usually a show takes a good season just to get its feet going.
And right off the bat,
it was running right off the bat.
That was a good show. Did you like Serenity?
Yes,
I thought that was a good. I thought they wrapped it up pretty well too. I liked, although I didn't like it
the guy
when he died. Yeah, that was sad. Where'd he go? Oh, Dexter.
Didn't like it.
You didn't like Dexter? Eli Stone?
Don't even know what it is.
Don't even know what it is. That's another one you should watch. Eli Stone. That was a good one. George Michael made all these guest appearance cameos in that movie because Eli Stone kept having these, I don't know what you would call them, but hallucinations or premonitions. And George Michael was in all of them. He was always singing in it. It was funny. It's a comedy about an attorney who has a brain tumor. And
I vaguely remember that. Yes,
yeah.
He would have these little.
Yeah.
I think I did see a couple of those.
Yeah, I like that, Joe. Smallville.
Loved Smallville.
And Breaking Bad.
Never watched Breaking Bad. People all look at me with.
Yeah, you need to watch Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is one that you're gonna when you start watching Breaking Bad, you're gonna watch that from start to finish, and you're not gonna stop. That's that good. It really is. In fact, the toss-up for my best of the 2000s between Smallville and Breaking Bad, and I went with Breaking Bad.
Oh, come on.
I did. You can't say that because you have not watched Breaking Bad.
I suppose, but geez, you're the one who got me into Smallville.
I know. I will have to say, I've never seen a character develop better in Smallville than I have on any other series ever. They took Lex Luthor, and he was Clark's best friend ever, and morphed that whole relationship to his ultimate enemy. They did such a good job over the years those 10 years that show was on of arcing that character from being friends to enemies. Fantastic job. They did a really good job with that.
But you're going with Breaking Bad.
I am going to go with Breaking Bad.
You heard that, Lewis. He snubbed DC and went with Breaking Bad.
I just it was close. Like I said, some of these I had to weigh, left and right. But I'm going to go with Breaking Bad. I did like Breaking Bad because I thought it broke some of the rules, and I thought it went there with other shows hadn't gone. Okay, so this was my toughest category of them all, and that's 2010 and on, or currently. And I don't have 10 of them. I couldn't come up with 10 shows that I think are really, really outstanding. What I do have is The Big Bang Theory, and I'm cheating a little bit because that started in 2007. You don't like The Big Bang Theory.
All right, first of all, let me throw this out because this is very important. I don't like canned laughter, which is weird because I don't know how I got through Gilligan's Island with that.
Yeah, and Seinfeld and everything else.
Well, yeah, but I don't watch a steady diet of that. But it seems like they got overboard with canned laughter in these later shows now. It's like they force every single joke. They want you to recognize it, and they got to jam in that. Mm-hmm. It annoys the shit out of me.
Okay. Modern Family. You're not going to like that one either. Then.
I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what Modern? That's the one with Sophia Vareg, whatever her name is. The really hot one with the big whatever.
What's the big whatever? Shoes?
Yeah, big shoes.
She's got big shoes?
She has big shoes.
Her hands?
Big shoes. No, she has big shoes, yeah.
Big shoes.
Big shoes, yeah.
Oh.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, till about...
Negan? Till the Negan era?
I'm still disturbed by that.
That I will have to say, probably in all of television, now, not movies, but all of television, that's the most disturbing scene I have ever seen when Negan takes, and I won't give it away, but when he takes a beat down on some of these people.
It's real.
Yeah.
And they left nothing to the imagination. And it
shocked
the shit out of me.
And that's the part that gets me, though, when you say nothing to the imagination. When we talk about TVs, especially movies, especially these horror movies, nothing, in my mind, nothing is worse than what's in my imagination. And I think that's why, the greats like Alfred Hitchcock and M. Night Shyamalan, whatever, they leave something to the imagination. They don't show you everything. You get bits and pieces. To me, I like that better.
Or the accident called Jaws, when they just...
Yeah, exactly.
They couldn't get the shark to work, so what did they do? They left it to your imagination, and you scared the living shit out of yourself.
Yeah, it's always better, so...
But anyway, yes.
Yeah.
I'll probably continue watching it.
Yeah.
Because, the desire to want to know. I've already invested all these seasons in it, but... yeah, it's a good show, but it's that was disturbing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Designated Survivor.
Don't know it.
Oh, you need to watch that one. That's like Jack Bauer as president of the United States, from 24.
Yeah.
That almost made my list, but I didn't quite put it in there. But yeah, that's a really good show. He's a member of Congress, I'm sorry, he's not a member of Congress. He's a member of the cabinet. And whenever they have when the State of the Union address, whenever they have one of these things, they always take a member of the cabinet and they stick them away somewhere so there's continuity of government should there be some nuclear holocaust or something. Well, that's exactly what happened. A bomb goes off and everyone in Congress dies. The president, the vice president, they're all dead. And the only person left who's in the line of command is, I think he's the Department of Housing secretary, and he becomes the president.
Yeah, he's next in line.
Yeah, it's a good show. Sherlock,
the one with
the BBC Sherlock with
I watched a couple episodes. The first two, I wasn't impressed.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me.
Really? What I like about that is each episode is like a movie. So it's like an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes long. Each episode is like a whole movie. I really, really like that show. And I think this guy's a great, and I'm kicking myself because his name is escaping me at the moment. But Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah.
Oh, he's a good actor.
Yeah. He was Khan in Star Trek too.
Yeah, well, not really. Don't get me going on that one.
So that's it. I don't have any other great ones.
Oh my Lord, are you serious?
What do you have? Give it to me. What do you got?
The Last Ship.
I don't know.
Oh, come on, that is so good.
It could make my top 10 because I don't have one. I can throw it in there. What else you got?
The girl with all the tattoos.
I don't like that show anymore.
You don't like it
anymore?
No.
I think it's gone too far.
I only seen season 1, so
I won't say anything. But like everything else, I think they take a good premise and they've ruined it. They've just it becomes unbelievable. Linda likes this show Scorpion, and I can't watch the show because everything in it is so unbelievable. Listen, you and I have talked about this before. When you watch a TV or a movie, there's a reality around it. So when you're watching Smallville, you see this guy doing superhero things, and that's not unusual because that's the realm of the reality in that TV show, that episode. That's what it is. But you wouldn't see Superman in Seinfeld. That you'd go, what? It doesn't work. Well, this is what they do in Scorpion. They talk about these computers and all these things, and it's unbelievable. And I suppose the same thing, like maybe why doctors don't watch ER or Code Black or any of these shows, because they look at it and they go, that would never happen. I can't watch it because I look at that and I go, that would never happen.
Well, let me get back to mine. I Castle, love that show.
Yeah, Castle I could see.
Bones, I love that show.
I don't like Bones.
Oh, I
can't. No, you know what? And it's her. She turns me off so much. I can't stand her. I can't.
Sleepy Hollow. I love that one.
I don't like Sleepy Hollow either. I don't like that one.
We're breaking apart. We're not going to have anything to talk about anymore. You suck.
I know. I'm sorry.
We need a new favorite television show. You know what didn't make any of your lists?
What?
MacGyver. The original.
You know, I watched a little bit of MacGyver, the original, because the new one came out, so I did some backwards. And it's a good show, but every episode is like every other episode. And I didn't quite realize that until I rewatched it. It's very monotonous. So that they didn't make my list because of that.
Oh, I did. I want to go back to the 80s.
80s.
I did have a favorite in the 80s.
Yes.
Miami Vice.
See, I watched it, but it wasn't my favorite.
Well, especially when Sheena Easton was on
you,
it. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you would have a different outlook, yeah. All right, so we're going to take a commercial break. I have to check my biscuits. They're in the oven. And we come back, we're going to wrap up this TV talk.
As internet technology advances, so does the threat of cybercrime. And the instant you go online, you become vulnerable to dangers such as identity theft, computer viruses, phishing, spyware, and more. In times like these, we must all protect ourselves from cybercrime. Antivirus software, firewalls, and security patches are just the beginning. Never open suspicious emails, only navigate to trusted sites, and change your passwords every 90 days. Back up important files to external storage devices. Tell anyone who uses your computer to be vigilant when downloading from the internet. Keep your kids safe on the internet. Teach them never to give out personal information or post information about their school or extracurricular activities. Installing parental control software and monitoring their computer are all good ways to prevent cybercrime. To learn more about cybercrime, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. The biscuits are just about ready. I got a couple more minutes to go. Okay, Sonny, got any shout-outs for this episode?
Well, I sure do. Want to send a shout-out to Dante Bottaro in Springfield and Adam Erickson in North Oxford. Thanks for listening.
Hey, guys, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Tell your friends. And now we've got...
The moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Yes, true or false headlines.
Okay, Mr. Rain, I know that you're still practicing and you're still trying. True or false? Woman sentenced to 2 years in jail after biting a dog.
False.
That is false. I made that up. Okay.
I bit a dog once and I didn't go to jail.
And not a hot dog. Man pays taxes all in pennies. True or false?
True.
That is true.
That's something I would do.
Yeah, Nick Stafford had an issue with the Department of Motor Vehicles in Lebanon, Virginia. He'd been fighting with the DMV for months, and he decided to pay $2,987.14 in taxes for his car in pennies. The facility's automated coin counting machine couldn't handle the load, so they were forced to count the 1,548 pounds of change by hand. Apparently, this stems from he called with a quick question and he couldn't get through. He kept getting an automated response. So he wanted the direct line. And because of the Freedom of Information Act, he got a hold of the direct line. Well, the DMV got pissed, and a big battle ensued because he wanted the rest of all of the DMVs in where's he from, Virginia? Yeah, from Virginia. He wanted all of their numbers, and they wouldn't give it to him. So he got pissed. So they did this battle back and forth, and he ended up suing, actually. And so what happened is on December 10th, a judge dismissed all the lawsuits when Stafford was provided with all the phone numbers in court by a representative from the state's attorney general. He then proceeded to post all these numbers on his website. And this is the part that it amazes me. He hired 11 people at $10 an hour to help him break open the rolls of coins that he got from the bank. It took them over 4 hours to do this, costing him $440. He then bought 5 wheelbarrows. That's how he brought the money in the wheelbarrows, which cost him another $400. All in all, Stafford spent $1,005 to get phone numbers and drop off a bunch of pennies at the DMV. And the DMV had to collect them because the U.S. Coinage Act of 1965 says coins are legal tender and can be used to pay charges, taxes, and dues. But the guy spent an extra $1,000 just because he got pissed off.
That is over the top. But I can relate to that. When I was living in Chicopee, and Chicopee has its own electric company.
Yeah.
And I got this late notice because I must have slipped one night. One month I slipped up and I forgot. So I get a late notice demanding payment for $23.75 or something like that. And I had to be there within 10 days or they were going to shut me off. And I was just so irritated by this. I was like, are you kidding me? I was only a month late. Usually...
Yeah, you get a grace period.
Yeah. They just tack it to the next bill. But it was just... I was so mad that I actually went to the bank and I got $23.75 worth of change and I threw it in a shoebox. And I went down there and I put it on the counter. And the woman starts saying, I can't accept this. And I said exactly the same thing. I said, oh, you most certainly can. This is legal United States tender.
Yep.
I said, next time, maybe you'll think twice about telling me I'm going to be shut off.
All right, this one you get a kick out of. True or false? DJ arrested for playing music too loud at a funeral home. True or false?
True.
I made it up. It's false.
You. I was going to go for 4 for 4 today.
I know. Trail of goobers leads police to murder victim. True or false?
True.
False. I made it up.
You suck.
Child arrested for stealing a carton of milk valued at 65 cents.
True.
That is true, yes. Ryan Turk was handcuffed, and suspended from Graham Park Middle School in Triangle, Virginia. Here we go with Virginia again. They're tough over there. After a school resource officer accused him of stealing a 65-cent carton of milk. Ryan, who was 14, was slapped with 2 misdemeanor charges of disorderly conduct and petty larceny. Ryan's trial was slated to start on Thursday, but prosecutors said they decided to drop the charges after talking to the boy's counselor. The officer claims he spotted Ryan cut the lunch line and grab a milk carton and run off. Ryan's mother said the theft charge made no sense, since her son was part of a lunch program that entitled him to free milk. But the police alleged that Ryan was charged because he tried to conceal the milk, which his mother also said was not true. Ryan, for his part, said that he simply forgot to take a carton of milk on his first pass through the line, so he went back to get it. The disorderly conduct charge stemmed from an allegation that Ryan pushed against the officer when he grabbed him. Come on, don't we have anything better to do? Really?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. All right, it's that time again.
It's time to dig deep. That only means one thing. It's time for questions from my side.
I got a bad feeling about this.
No. Only if you're reaching in. Let's see. Okay. And first one is mayonnaise or salad dressing?
On what?
The question only said, well, actually, not really a question. It's just written mayonnaise or salad dressing. I'm going to go with mayonnaise. It's got to be Hellman's.
Mayonnaise has to be Hellman's.
Yes.
And my late father would give you a lecture on that, or anybody for that matter,
Yeah,
about Hellman's mayonnaise.
I agree. It's Hellman's.
Yeah, it's more useful for so many different things. Salad dressing is either marinade or salad dressing.
Yeah. See, my middle daughter Amanda loves Miracle Whip. She thinks,
Oh, God.
that's the salad dressing. Miracle Whip. It's salad dressing. It's not
Oh,
mayonnaise.
I thought you meant like Italian ranch, blue
Well,
cheese.
I'm assuming that's what they mean. It says mayonnaise or salad dressing,
Oh, I didn't.
and that's what
All
Miracle
right,
Whip is. It's salad dressing.
Phrase these questions a little bit more specific, okay?
I'm going with mayonnaise and Miracle Whip, and we agree. All right, next one. Okay, let's see. It says, if it's made from beef, why do we call it a hamburger?
No shit. Why?
I have no idea.
That is just...
Is it German? Isn't hamburger German for?
Well, there's a Hamburg, Germany, but was it invented in Germany?
I don't know.
The Frankfurter, didn't that come from Germany?
I don't know. See, we're dumb. We don't know these real
Well,
things.
something we're going to have to look up for next week's show.
I'm going to go with I don't know.
I'm going to go with...
All right. Next one, and let's see. This one says, okay, why do we park a car in a driveway and drive in a parkway?
Because the English language is the most
we're
fucked up language on planet Earth.
Yes, we are stupid in America. We're dumb. Okay? We're the newest country, and it shows.
He doesn't really mean that.
Yes, I really do. I really, 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 really mean it.
Sonny's pet peeve
of the week.
I'm just dying to hear what Sonny's pet peeve of the week is.
People who refuse to get out of their pajamas when they go shopping.
Been to Walmart lately?
You know, come on. I mean, why don't you just put a sign on you that says, I didn't bother to wash my important parts. I didn't put deodorant on. I did nothing. I rolled out of bed, smoked a cigarette, drank my coffee, and off to the store I went.
'Cause I don't care.
I saw a man walk into Walmart wearing not only pajamas, but his
Slippers?
bathrobe and slippers too, headed for the bank.
You know what? I would love to do that. I just don't have enough balls to do it.
People.
I'd be too embarrassed.
People. You got to take time to put some clothes on, okay? Look at least like you respect other people's space. My God.
That's a good pet peeve. I'm up with that one.
I mean, I can see running into a package store at 10 minutes of 11 because it's about to close. You didn't have time to get in there because you got to get that bottle. I'll let that one go. But at least it's nighttime.
I've done it with sweatpants, only in a drive-through. I won't actually get out, but I've had sweatpants on and I've gone to the drive-through. That's about it for me. That's my extent.
Well, that's it. That's my pet peeves for this week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Any final thoughts?
Yes. Did you get it?
Yes. And my answer is...
Oh, you're unreal.
I know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fountain of Thought. Tweet us at TalkFOT and email us at talkfot@gmail.com. And remember, everyone, be a fountain, not a drain.
Bye-bye.